Misfits. Midtown. Misfits. Midtown. Misfits. Midtown. Misfits. Midtown. Misfits. Midtown. Misfits. Midtown. Misfits.
Hey.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome back, Misfits, and welcome back to a new episode. Today, we are continuing and finishing
Wrapping it up.
the last places you should know.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
two very cool places.
It is places. I was going to say place you should know, but no, it's places.
Places, yes.
Yeah, places.
Today's
Plural.
two.
Yes. So, like I said, we're continuing the series, and today we are rounding it out with Samaria and Judea.
Yeah.
Yes. I thought about naming, this is like actually true. I thought about naming the episode like Sam and Judy to like follow up the two Beths.
Yeah.
But I was like, is that too much?
I guess if you're listening to this, you probably know if we chose that or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So
but I was like,
as of
that
right
might
now,
be too much.
TBD. But
Exactly.
yeah.
Like, oh, the two Beths and then Sam and Judy.
But I don't
It's
hate
like,
it.
who are you talking about?
I think that's kind of cool.
Exactly.
But
I don't know. Well, when y'all hear this, it'll be too
Future
late.
us will-
So. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, Samaria and Judea are part of the Israelite kingdom. Samaria is in the northern region, and then Judea is in the southern region.
Right.
They are neighbors. And we're going to start with Samaria. So Samaria is both a region and a city. Its name means watch mountain or watch tower. And fun fact, Samaria is now known as Sebastia. It's the capital city of the entire northern region of the Israelite kingdom. Because the Israelite kingdom, for those of you that don't know, it was divided between Israel and Judah.
Yes.
Yes. So it was northern and southern, and then Samaria was at the north. That was more for me than for y'all. So make sure that
To recap.
that we're talking about the same thing. So if we go back to the Old Testament and remember when Joshua was handing out territories to the tribes of Israel, right after they had entered the land of Canaan, the tribes of Ephraim and Manasseh, who, if you remember, are the sons of Joseph of the robe of many colors infamy, they were given the territory that was later named Samaria.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pretty cool.
So we see the first mention of Samaria in the Old Testament in 1 Kings 16:24, and the Bible says, then Omri bought the hill now known as Samaria from its owner, Shemer, for 150 pounds of silver. He built a city on it and called the city Samaria in honor of Shemer. So apparently, I don't know why, but Samaria was named after the previous owner, Shemer. Don't really know how these names,
How are they related?
how they connect.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it was his nickname. I don't know.
Or maybe like in the original, they sound more similar than like what they've been translated to
Maybe
now.
if we were real podcasters, we would
would
have
have done a
looked
little
that
bit
up.
We just thought, that's interesting.
Oh, you noob. But anyway, yeah, Shemer, Samaria is the same name, but
Start
it's the
with
name of the
S.
city because they were trying to honor the person, which is great.
Yeah.
It's interesting to note that King Omri was part of the tribe of Ephraim and Manasseh, which is why he was wheeling and dealing in this area.
Right.
And he is essentially the founder of Samaria because he
Yeah.
just buys the land. He's like, I'm going to name it this. And so it was his land.
Yeah, it
Yeah, he
was
planted his flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like he put his flag down like, this is my land.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This land is my land. Yeah, I had to do that.
Oh,
Okay, so in the Old and New Testament, we see two different sides of Samaria. So in the Old Testament, Samaria was synonymous with the northern kingdom. And in the New Testament, it was seen as an idolatrous area Jews tried to avoid at all costs.
Yeah.
And we have many examples of that for sure when they were like, oh, not through there.
Yeah. Can we go around? And,
Exactly.
Yeah.
It'll take 3 extra days. No, we can't go through there.
no.
Like the dust of the ground was like gonna be contagious of their idolatry
they were
or
gonna,
something.
like, touch them and like ruin their lives or something. It's like, it's not that serious.
Exactly.
But that's how they felt.
So now let's talk about some cool stuff that happened in this area. These are some of the Samaria highlights. So number 1, the region of Sychar, aka Shechem, is in Samaria. This is the place where Abram built an altar for God after receiving the promise of the land of Canaan. And we see this in Genesis 12.
It's not Shechem.
Or wait, I don't know.
It says
I
Shechem.
always say Shechem. That's just me though. It might be Shechem.
Yeah, it might be. Now I'm doubting everything.
I don't know. If it's Sychar, then it's probably Shechem. So
All right.
yeah, we're going to go with that. And then, so number 2, Sychar is also the area where Jacob's well is. And if that sounds familiar, it's because this is the well used by the Samaritan woman in John 4, which is awesome, right? Where the storylines meet. Number 3, Jacob, aka Abraham's grandson, built an altar near Shechem.
Right.
Or Shechem, don't know. Yeah. Genesis 33. And then number 4, there was a ton of idol worship, specifically altars to Baal. There was a famine that went on in Samaria. Yep. Jesus traveled through there, and then the disciple Philip goes there to preach the gospel after Jesus' ascension.
Right.
So that was just a lot of highlights in one, but that's some of the things that we know that happened in Samaria, and there's a lot more.
Yeah.
But that was just kind of like some highlights. Like we called it. So it's interesting. What I wanted to say was, because when we were working on the episode, I remembered this, and it's that Sychar, if I am not mistaken, means drunken or drunkenness. And this is the town that the woman at the well was living in, right? In this part of Samaria. Mm-hmm. And when she comes to the well because she's thirsty and she's coming to get water. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting because, of course, we know that Jesus offers the living water. Right. However, she was coming to a well to get water in a town called drunkenness, right? And drunkenness speaks of just being filled to the brim with something or a substance or whatever.
That's true.
And it's like, oh, you should be full, but you're empty. Right. And you need the living water.
Because you're actually drunk because you're full of something that you shouldn't be.
Yes. This is why it's awesome to look up what the names mean. Yeah. Because it's a story in the story,
within
right?
itself, yeah.
But it's outrageous. I just had to say that.
That's actually really cool.
And then lastly, preparing for this episode, we noticed that Samaria is usually mentioned in one of 3 ways. So number 1, it's sometimes mentioned as a location where many political moves were being made in 1st and 2nd Kings. Number 2, it's sometimes mentioned as a place that was going to receive harsh judgment in Isaiah. And number 3, we see it mentioned as a place God could still redeem in Acts. Yeah. So it's definitely mentioned in other places, but this is the gist of what we see throughout the Bible.
Yeah, kind of like some insignificant areas.
Yeah, it's like a plague place that you want to stay away from. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh no, we can save them, so let's send Philip there. Yeah. And then it's at this place where it's like, in 1st and 2nd Kings, where it's like basically, not to be punny, but it's like chronicling everything. Not chronicles. Yeah, and it's all about. But it's like chronicling the kings and this person, and it's like talking about that.
Yeah, like why it's like on the political side, because it's about like who ruled and who did everything.
Right, and then once you know it's the capital of Israel before Israel and Judah combine, it makes a lot of sense. Not the plague part, like we don't want to go there, but why it was such an intricate place and it was mentioned so much, because I don't think that's common knowledge. I don't think people know that. Yeah, I think it's like, oh yeah, you don't want to go there, and the Samaritan woman came from there.
Yeah, and we didn't mention it here, but like Galilee was north of Samaria too, and which is like a bigger city or area, right? Mm-hmm. So like, which is why a lot of times they travel from Judea to Galilee, and they were trying to avoid Samaria because Samaria was in the middle of these 2 places. Exactly. And so it was very inconvenient for people who had to travel, because they're like, we don't want to walk there. Yeah. But we have to get to the other side. And so that's why they were like, can we go around? Can we do this? Yeah. And it's like, no.
Yeah, that's good. It's interesting because it's as if it's like a biblical shady neighborhood. Yeah, yeah. And you're like, man, if we go there, we might get killed, robbed, or we might sin.
Right.
Should we go around?
And how like Jesus redeemed that place. Turned it around.
Yeah. And it's awesome too, because he speaks of, how people always say, like, if you're going through hell, don't stop. And it's like, it speaks of how Jesus, and when you walk with Jesus, it's like you can't just go around things. You actually have to go through things to heal, to redeem, to forgive, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but when you're with him, he helps you along the way.
Exactly. He walks with you, and then he waits at the well.
And he brings the miracles and the blessings.
I have food you know nothing about. Yeah.
And it's like, wait, what? I thought we were in the valley.
Exactly. Who brought you food? Someone must have brought him a sandwich. That's the Yadi and Fran version of the Bible. Don't look for that in the text.
It's in we haven't put our version out yet, so don't look for it. Coming 2025.
Oh, man, I wonder what we should call it. We've gone too long.
Yeah. Let's bring it back, and now we're going to go on to Judea. Mm-hmm. And Judea is the name of the place where the tribe of Judah was established, so the name seems to be derived from that, which you can kind of see the similarities there. But we also found it may mean place of the Jews or place of the praisers, which makes sense because the tribe of Judah is named after Jacob's son Judah, and his name means praise. Right. So it kind of all checks out. It's, you kind of see
checks and balances. This makes sense. Yeah. Yes.
So you see how.
For 2 non-scholars, I'm like, yes, I believe it.
Check. Yes, thank you. We accept. So yeah, no, but that's pretty cool. The capital of Judea is Jerusalem, and the city became the capital when David became king of Judah. He captured Jerusalem and made it the capital of the United Kingdom of the tribes of Israel.
Right, which is what we were mentioning before, where
Yeah.
Israel and Judah combined and became
Came
one
together.
Israel, and then,
Yeah.
Jerusalem became its capital.
Because it was divided for a long time until David became
Yes.
king. Yeah.
Please see First, Second Kings,
I.e.
and Chronicles.
Reference. So when the tribes of Israel invaded Canaan, the tribe of Judah was given the entire area, which was later named Judea. So we also found that there's really no clearly marked boundary dividing Judea from Samaria, but the town of Beersheba was traditionally the southernmost limit until the reigns of David and Solomon.
Yeah,
So
which is interesting. I mean, if you live there, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like from us looking out, it's like, wait, where does
Like,
it start and where does it
end?
yeah, where does it end?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they probably had a better understanding, but yeah, at the time it wasn't as clear.
Yeah, because there was beef. You would think there'd be a wall or something.
Yeah, no. But yeah, during their individual terms as king, the tribe of Judah absorbed the ancestral lands of Benjamin, which is to the north of Jerusalem, Dan to the west, and Simeon to the south. So the boundary of Judea expanded past Beersheba, so it grew. We see Judea is first mentioned in the Bible in the Old Testament, and we see it in the book of Ezra, and that's in chapter 5, verse 8. It says, "Let it be known to the king that we went into the province of Judea to the temple of the great God, which is being built with heavy stones, and timber is being laid in the walls. And this work goes on diligently and prospers in their hands." So this same verse in the NLT says the province of Judah rather than the province of Judea. So keep in mind, Judea and Judah seem to be interchangeable depending on the translation you're reading. But essentially, Judea distinctly refers to the territory, and Judah could be speaking of several things. It could be Judah, the person, son of Jacob. It could be the territory or the land in Canaan. It could be the specific tribe or the Israelites as a whole. So it's important to keep the context in mind to determine what Judah is actually referring to in a particular verse.
Yes,
So
'cause it could be
just
any
mean
of
an
these
area or something a little bit more specific.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of confusing, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're reading it, it kind of makes sense, right, contextually. But when we say it like this, it's like, yo, that's confusing.
And I think because it grew, right? It combined with a lot of different areas, depending on which time or which portion of the Bible you're reading. It could just be referring to a specific area or just as a region. I think that makes sense because Judah just kind of became different things throughout the years.
Yeah, like it
depending on who
started
reigned.
as a person and then it evolved
Yeah,
into
and then
all this
it
other
was
stuff.
named, the land then was named after the person, and then it just kind of got bigger, and then it was just kind
the
of
tribe also has
Yeah.
the name of the person. Yeah.
So it's kind of used a little interchangeably, but it could be any of these things. But for this instance, we're talking about the land territory kind of thing. So now let's talk about some cool stuff that happened in this area in Judea. And these are some of Judea's highlights. So one, Jesus was born in Bethlehem, which is in Judea. And we know that's in Matthew 2, verses 1, 5, and 6. We also know that John the Baptist began his ministry in the wilderness of Judea. And we see this in Matthew 3:1. It was also one of the places that experienced the outpouring of the Holy Spirit back in Pentecost, which was the beginning of the church as we know it. And that was in Acts 2, verses 5 through 11. And we also know that the Apostle Paul preached in Judea, and it's referenced in Acts 6:20.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are some highlights. A lot of stuff happened in Judea, especially because all the changes that happened. But this is just kind of stuff that really impacts our lives as Christians, and it's kind of just cool to know.
Yeah, and it's this because we talk about Jesus, and we talked about him recently when it comes to the lineage, right, and the lineage of David and why he's a king, and he has basically there's all the receipts to prove that he's actually belongs to the king, to the lineage of David, which is why he's a king, legitimate king, for the Jews. But what I wanted to talk about was number one, I don't think I knew that. I know Bethlehem, right? I know Nazareth, but I don't think that I knew Bethlehem was in Judea or ever thought about that.
Or putting those two together, where is Bethlehem?
Exactly.
And the fact that
I think of Bethlehem and I just think of Christmas songs and stuff like that. But
city on a hill.
Exactly. So, but it is in Judea, which is great.
Yeah.
And then when we come to David is from the tribe of Judah, and so Jesus is from the tribe of Judah. And then
and living in area of Judah.
Exactly, right? And then Judah is I just had it. It's the Lion of Judah. Yeah, the
Lion of
Lion of the tribe of Judah. Jesus is the Lion of the tribe of Judah.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, it's just all coming together.
Yeah,
It's all coming together really well, which is, why there's the receipts of, Jesus coming back to reign.
Right.
But yeah, this is Samaria and Judea, aka Judah, apparently. And now we know.
Now we know.
Yeah, exactly. They were neighbors and they were rivals.
Yeah, they were rivals. But also really cool stuff happened in both.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool because I think, if I'm not mistaken, we found what present day Samaria is, right, with this Sebastian.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, I read that it's named after one of the Caesars.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like named after, it was like to honor one of the Caesars or something. And they named it Sebastian. And then Judea, if I'm not mistaken, it still has the same name. And it's like roughly in the same area. And it's not like what we were talking about a couple weeks ago, where it's like ruins and people don't know what it is. And it's all these other 3 places or whatever. It's
that one's pretty
They
clear.
haven't moved. They're still in the same place. But yeah, so we hope that you enjoyed this episode. We are closing out the Places You Should Know series, and hopefully this adds context to your Bible reading and you understand it way more, because now we know all sorts of fun facts that we can understand the Bible better, which is the whole point of everything we talk about. If you ever wondered.
We're learning things and we want to share what we're learning, so hopefully you are.
Yeah, exactly. And most of the stuff that we talk about, we don't know.
Yeah.
We just literally do the research and we're like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah.
And then we share it with y'all.
Exactly.
But this is like, we're basically all in school together.
Yeah. So welcome to our class.
Exactly. Class is in session. But yeah, we hope that you enjoyed this episode. And as always, this is Fran.
This is Yadi.
We are the Midtown Misfits, and we will see you next week. Bye.